Hey everybody, this is Petey from the Spinner Rack. We also have
Alvin Ellis, ready to rock.
today we have a new Max series called Duster. We're gonna watch the trailer. We're gonna get ready, set. Ashley is a few days away, maybe 5 days away. Ready, set, and now I'm just gonna say I brought this movie up, this series up because it has Josh Holloway, who was in Lost as Sawyer, and Sawyer was kind of the Wolverine of the series. He was the bad boy. He seemed to be like he was going to be the next guy coming up. And then they kind of through the show, they said, "No, this is our show about Matthew Fox, who's been, I think it was a Party of Five and whatnot, and we have our new person, Evangeline Lilly. These are our people," and they kind of got them to move up. But it feels like Sawyer, Josh Holloway, is back. I know he died early in, I think the Mission Impossible. I guess was it the third one? I think he dies in there, but we like you can see star potential in him, but it seemed like it didn't really happen. So I'm glad to see he's got a series. So let me pass it to Cal. What do you think of this series so far? What you see this trailer?
I only saw one episode of Lost, so that's me. I don't. I'll be honest, and this is going to sound really shallow. I'm interested in watching this because of the design.
No, that's fine. The
It's
look
literally
appealing.
just the way that they wrote Duster, and I'm like, okay, Duster. I like the design. I'm not sure what the word means, and strictly based on that, I'm interested in watching this. I know it doesn't make a whole bunch of sense to everybody listening, especially if they've heard me with my analysis
Oh, okay.
before.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking at this right now, like, hey, you know what? I want to give this a try. Duster? That sounds interesting, and I like the design. It's so, I mean, it's so flimsy, but that's just where I'm at right now.
Well, you also have to think about it of sense of style of what the '70s. I mean, they feel like this is going to be a '70s type of thing or late '60s. That kind of have this sort of feel that people would just watch things just for maybe a hot, series, opener, like an intro to the series. So I think that's and even in the the artsy film type of thing, people go into the thing just wanting to see some cool shots and say, hey, see if they can play up, bring up the style. Kind of what people, which I don't think we got it all together with Tarantino, but people kind of look to him as his style. But for me, I just saw Sawyer. I wanted to see what this thing was about. I didn't watch it on my own yet. This is my first time seeing it, and it looks like it has a lot of interesting things. There's a couple of other series that are kind of wild. I think there's a Kevin Bacon series that's not. This is kind of like a Spawn with a regular guy, and this is in that sort of vein. I gotta figure out what the name is before I say it. Sorry, y'all, but like so. This looks like it's gonna be a fun series, and it went a little differently than I expected. I thought him
Oh,
and
it's a series. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I thought the black girl was going to be, his partner initially. I didn't know that she was going to be someone searching. It looked like okay, now she gets her person, but that's not what she's going for. She's going for something else. So they've got some twists in this trailer, which you usually don't have. So and they have a bunch of characters that are coming in there that are going to be interesting. So I always looked at what's it, Banshee? Like Banshee was one of a wild show, which was mainly an action type of show and kind of a wild. It wasn't a style of the past, style of kind of a rural area, and this villain who becomes a hero just because he takes on the name of the next sheriff that's coming to town, and all these people from his past and people just want to come in and attack, come into the town, and he protects it. So, sort of in that vein, we have a '70s type of thing with this action, cars, and all this other stuff that people used to watch movies and TV for. He even mentioned Bush Cassidy and Sundance Kid in there, so we're getting that kind of vein of stuff we used to see in the past, which was just balls to the wall action. So for me, it's a win. I want to check this out, and luckily I have a friend who's helped me out so I can see Max. So yeah, there we go. I'm there.
I'm going to tell brief anecdote as to why I'm interested in this type of film. This isn't back in the old days before you had all of these multiple channels and there was a set amount of channels unless you had cable, didn't have cable. But every once in a while, you might just be, clicking through the channels, like all seven of them, as we would have over in New York City, and you might see something for a second, like, oh, this looks interesting. I'll give it a few minutes, and let's see how it goes. So I did that once on a film that reminds me of the way this series seems stylized. There was a guy, looks like he was a bit of a drifter, but he has this really cool muscle car, like a Mustang, uh, stick shift Mustang. And somehow he runs afoul of the cops and they're chasing after him. And in, he's out in Nevada, Arizona. I just remember, like, a lot of desert around. And so he meets with this Native American woman, and I guess they have some sort of interaction. And he's asking, like, what his life's going to be. And he's like, oh, you have the like the spirit of the cougar, the puma, the mountain lion. And he's like, so what happens when I go as far as I can go? And she's like, oh, your spirit will seek release. And I didn't understand what she was talking about, but I was just there because they had so many cool car scenes, so
Mm.
many cool car scenes, so many chase scenes where this guy was always able to use his car successfully to evade everything. Then they finally get into some sort of sequence. I don't remember if it was like this is this is the going to the end of the movie where I think he's cornered and I can't remember. He either drives the car off of a cliff or he's driving into something, like into another car. And what happens is it cuts to a mountain lion just running, and then it all makes sense. Like his spirit sought release, and he became the spirit of the mountain lion, and he goes off. So that was me just taking a chance on the film. I was thoroughly entertained. I only saw that film once. I never knew the title of it, the actor. I never tried to track it down again, but I only saw that film once. But those were the great days where you could just give a film one shot. You may only see it once, but just be thoroughly entertained by it. This strikes me as in the same vein as that, with those type of elements. So, just the trailer and that logo, I'm remembering that particular film, which will allow me to give this particular film a chance because, I just happened to, roll the dice on it, and it came up the right number. So that's where I'm at with this one. So I hope that little bit right there helps everyone to understand why just this little bit is like, yeah, I'm interested in seeing this simply because that other film worked for me, so I'm willing to give this one a shot.
And I guess we didn't, even though it's mentioned in there. This is J.J. Abrams production, so he's I guess back in the television run. Did he do anything? I mean, obviously he had a start in Alias and Felicity, and of course Lost and whatnot. Then he was a big movie guy doing big stuff like Star Wars and Star Trek and all that, and
Yeah,
Cloverfield,
it's
all the
probably a
stuff.
good move for him because he keeps getting slated for everything he does outside of TV right now.
Yeah, so I mean, having the track record outside of undercovers with Boris Kojo and was it Guru and Gotha, which was a definite fun thing. But at the same time, yeah. So this should be, it's funny because my wife was a big Alias fan, and I was okay with it, but it was things that I was kind of like, I was like, so Bradley Cooper, he's supposed to be the guy in the friend zone in this, and then seeing a leader man is like, I understand he was playing kind of less confident, but it's like, I don't know. So then, then her walking down the steps. But it's something that always felt like he kind of should have gone back to because she's still in pretty much the same shape. And she did a darker type of story. What's it? I forget the name of that. What was that? So yeah, but yeah, he's got he's at the same time, even if you don't like some of the stuff he does, he always has payoffs in his stuff. So in the Star Trek, even if it was too extreme for Star Trek, it keeps your blood pumping. So you know, regretfully, it's one of the more favorite of the Mission Impossible series done by him. But monetarily, it wasn't the biggest one, which is crazy. Like everyone always goes to three and say, "Yeah, I like three," and for some reason they only watch it on cable or something like that, or on DVD back then. I can't remember if we got rid of DVDs, but anyway, it's looking pretty good. Any last words?
If anybody knows that movie I just described, please let me know.
Alrighty, spin a rack.
Oh.
We are out.